Welcome back to CBS Mornings. The first Republican presidential debate is less than 1 week away. It's here already. One of the candidates who will be on the stage is Doug Burgum, who has been meeting voters at the Iowa State Fair. Everybody goes to the fair. The two-term governor of North Dakota entered politics in 2016. He's currently polling at 1% and received enough donations to qualify for the debate. So we are making an effort here on CBS Mornings, your favorite morning show, to hear from all the Republicans appearing on that debate stage. And we are very glad to tell you that the governor is in the house and joins us at the table. Good to see you, Governor Burgum.
Great to be here, Gail. Tony, Nate, fantastic. Fun
we could say you're already different in that you walked over here from the hotel. That's number one, makes you different. But you are playing, Governor, a game of getting to know you. You're polling at 1%. I'm curious, and I don't want a big, long speech, but why you want this job and why you think you can break through at 1%.
Well, first of all, we want this job because we know that if you do this job right, you can improve every American life. And our mission is to do that, improve every American life, bring out the best of America. And as governor, I have an opportunity to see that. When you're in the executive branch, you do the job right. Every day you can wake up and make a difference in people's lives. And in terms of breaking through, we've just been in this race a little over 2 months. People are just getting to know us. In the states where we've been on the ground, our polling numbers, we've been as high as tied for 4th in New Hampshire already. And so I wouldn't look at the national polls. I'd look at the state polls where we're out there working.
But in order to qualify the debate, you know, and you're getting a little bit of flack for it, you had to give people, you gave them gift cards. You said if they donated $1, you would give them a gift card. So people said, well, what does that say about your candidacy if you have to essentially pay people? What do you say to that?
Well, I just say I think it's terrific that we're talking about this because as an entrepreneur, business person, someone who grew up in a town of 300 people in North Dakota, one of the things that I spent 30 years in my life in tech, if you're starting an online retail store, if you're a young person today, you got to have a promotion. You have to have a way to break through. And so we did that. Turns out if you tell people, hey, we'll give you a gift card if you come to the dougburgum.com, guess what? They come and they, hey, I want to buy a T-shirt. I want to buy a mug. Maybe I want to give, $25. Maybe I don't need the gift card because this guy seems interesting. And
maybe they'll learn more about you in the process.
No, absolutely. And then guess what? They come back. This is not a one-time. We're building relationships. So I just want to take this moment and say thank you to all the supporters across the country that helped us get here because these rules were set up as clubhouse rules, trying to keep a young outsider like me out of the game. And so we're thrilled to be there.
Well, you're a successful entrepreneur, wealthy man. Do you plan to spend your own money on your campaign? Or what percentage do you anticipate that you'll spend?
Well, it's way overblown in terms of how wealty I am, but the press.
Well, you have a couple of bucks.
That's not a bad rumor to have out there.
You want to squash those now?
But I'm saying, I had an opportunity, growing up in that small town. My dad passed away when I was a freshman in high school. My mom went back to work. A widow with 3 kids. I understand what it's like to be a working mom, paying the bills. Yeah. But I had 160 acres of farm ground. That's not enough to farm in North Dakota. Dryland wheat farming, you need thousands of acres. But I took that, literally bet the farm. That was the seed capital for a software startup. We built it into a 2,000-person, billion-dollar company with customers in 132 countries. Did it all with kids from small towns. So we've got something to bring here because we know technology is changing every job, every company, every industry, but it hasn't changed government yet. There's so much cost we can take out of government if you do it right.
Governor, politics is about contrasts, and I'm loath to do it, but I will ask you what you think about the now 4th federal indictment against the far and away frontrunner for the Republican nomination, former President Donald Trump.
Well, I think I've been asked this question a lot, and I give the same answer, which is, wow, there's a whole industry in our country talking about divisiveness, talking about, opinions, legal opinions. All this stuff has to work through the courts. And here we are, we're trying to talk about the future. So our whole campaign is how we're going to improve every American life, what we're going to do on economy, on energy policy, on national security, how we can move it forward. And I'm going to leave it up to this whole industry to debate about.
But in order to do that, Governor, you still have to get past, take on Donald Trump. And you seem reluctant to do that publicly. True?
And shouldn't your voters know how you feel about the front runner in your party?
Well, I think
listen, you're a North Dakota governor. I know you're a Vikings fan. Let's imagine we're talking about the Minnesota Vikings right now. And Trump is a starting quarterback. How do you feel about what's going on with him?
Yeah, and by the way, I was traumatized by the 4 Viking Super Bowl losses, but I've worked my way through that. We're still hoping for that one Super Bowl win. But on in terms of this question, When we started that software company, the first trade show I went to at Comdex, I opened up the book. There were 63 other accounting software companies. I didn't like walk out and the very first customer I met say, hey, let me tell you why that market leaders got all these issues, because they can figure that out on their own. Well, I had to tell them, here, what we can do for you. So we're still in that stage 2 months into it. We got to tell people this is what we can do.
It's more about you, not about Trump.
Well, it is right now. We got to tell a story. But in North Dakota, we're on track to have the highest GDP in the nation. We're a state that said we're going to be carbon neutral by 2030, but we're doing it with no mandates, no regulations. We're doing it all through innovation. And I'll tell you, the energy policies we have in this country right now are completely backwards. China imports 10 million barrels of oil a day, and we've got, Blinken, Yellen, and Kerry going over there, and no one's even talking about energy policy. Putin doesn't even invade Ukraine if he doesn't have all of Western Europe. So we have to start selling energy to our friends and allies, stop buying it from our enemies. That would, all of you, all of us, everybody's paying too much for their gas, too much for every consumer good, and the inflation that's choking this nation right now, $700 more a month for the average working family. We've got to fix the economy. We've got to fix energy policy. And if we do that, we're going to make the world more stable. Both of those things tie directly into national security.
Well, Governor, we do appreciate you being here. I appreciate all the barley that comes out of North Dakota. It's in the beer we're all drinking this summer. Before we let you go, we'll sneak in one more question here because I think it's an important one. My friends on the right, they tell me they think there's two tiers of justice. You've said that as well. They also think the former president's being persecuted. And yet, it's trust in our institutions, in our systems, that lets you run for president, lets all of us believe that the leader of our country is the true leader of our country. And you've got the former president leading up to January 6th, casting doubt on that system, continuing to this very day to tell people, to lie to the American public that there was fraud, widespread election-changing fraud. As a leader in this country, as someone running for a job where that election matters, do you think he's dangerous to democracy? And can you say something in support of that system that you're going to lead?
Well, I think, again, you talk to the average Americans, and I know there's something that's going viral this week. It's a highlight reel of every political pundit, every news host back in 2016 saying the Russians hacked the election. So people see that, and then they see this, and they go, what's the difference? Both sides.
What do you see, though? I don't want to hear about people. What about you, Doug Burgum?
Well, the voters are the ones that are going to decide, so what the people think matters, not what the pundits
It does matter. It does matter, but you're going to lead those people. But, yeah, you're a voter as well. So, I mean, you have thoughts.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Well, I think it's bigger than any particular indictment. If Americans do not trust the institutions of justice...
Do you trust it? Should they trust it?
If you want to establish trust in an organization, you have to change leadership. That's why I'm running for president, because any business that I've ever been involved with, any state, state that I'm leading now, the citizens respond to the leadership at the top. If they know that that person has got the character, the integrity, and the ability to establish trust, if they know that what they'll do. When you grow up in a small town of 300 people, every transaction, everything you do, every action you take, on the field,
there's a ripple
off the field,
effect.
whatever, everybody knows there's accountability. My whole life has been about building trust with customers and partners. We need leadership that people can trust. Right now, we're not seeing that in either party. That's why we're running. People have to.
Governor,
competition.
You're saying
is
you
great.
can't trust Donald Trump. All right.
Okay.
We hear you.
we appreciate you
Great.
working with
Well,
coming
thanks
by.
for having us on. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.